Welcome to Rules of Villainy, episode 86, where three new trading card game players quest and challenge their way to the competitive top tables and discuss their opinion on Disney's Lorcana. I'm Villain Vince, joined by my co-host, Villainy Andy, and ROV Kirsten here. How we doing? It's pretty late for you, much earlier in the day for me, because I'm still upside down.
Vince is in the upside down.
Vince is down under.
Down under.
We made it happen. He's on a pit stop from his F1 race currently. So
yeah,
we're able to.
And I'm also, it's the future here because it's still like Wednesday night for you, and it's like Thursday middle of the afternoon for me. Wild how time zones work.
If this podcast goes on long enough, Vince will still be recording while it's being released. It's.
But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the experience here that I had at the DLC, I think, in our main segment. But let's get into the news here. So Andy, you want to take us through this first few points here?
Yeah, huge shout out to Team Maelstrom Sailor from Team Maelstrom who won the Ink CQ. I believe this is the first CCQ of the Winter Spell meta. First big tournament here in NA. Took it down with the infamous Dogs deck. So be on the lookout for that at your local LGS, your LLG, the ATM machine thing there.
Yeah, yeah, you got it. Yeah.
I'm sure you'll love the turn 1 Daisy into turn 2 Tree plus Daisy.
So Dogs ? Best deck in Winter Spell, maybe? Who knows?
Most annoying. That's
you want to take this next point here, Kirsten?
Yeah, we also had this past weekend the Lorcana Women's Plus Championship by Black Dragon Games with Card Heroine. They are in the EU, and I think that this is the second time they've done a women's only event. But Lorcanusi, they won with Sapphire Steel, so that was super exciting. I think it was more of a allies deck, if I recall. I think that they're friends with Allie and Harlan Sweet, so probably a little inspiration from them, but congrats to her. I think that that is super exciting, and I hope that we see more women's only events.
Yeah, and by the time you're listening to this, Ghent is happening in Europe. In Europe.
You know which country Ghent is in, Vince?
It's in Belgium.
Okay,
good.
Belgium. Right, Kirsten didn't. Kirsten thought Ghent was in Berlin, which she thought was a city in Germany. She thought Ghent was in Germany. When I said it was in Belgium, she goes, "Isn't Belgium in Germany?" So that was a fun geography lesson.
Sorry.
So what are our predictions? I think Blurple's got to finally win one deck this set. Yeah, that's my
DKP will be there. So
what is yours?
Very reasonable prediction. I don't know. It might be Dogs again.
It might be Dogs again.
Don't know yet because Buster hasn't made his predictions. But stay tuned. Look out for that video. And whatever he predicts, that's what I'm rooting for. Maybe not Ruby Steel, but sorry, Sky.
All right. Andy, want to talk about our teammates that are going to Houston?
Yes, teammates. Kristen and Andy the Grape are both headed out. By the time you're listening to this, they'll probably already be checking into their accommodations at the CS Houston this weekend. It tripped me up there. CCS is normally in Atlanta, but they have a Houston store now as well, and they're hosting yet another CCQ. So everyone tune into that and sure to root for Kristen and Andy. We wish them the best of luck.
And also shout out to our friends over at Duckling, Ron and Brett. They're also heading down there. So they may not be on ROV, but we're still rooting for them as long as they don't get paired into ROV.
Yeah, that's right. That's our big stipulation.
I'm joking.
But yeah, good. But we gotta give Ron and Britt a good shout out, also because they've been taking care of my cat Cassian while I have been down under. So I'm very happy about that. What's this hobbyist novice pack rush?
Yeah, so I think that it was mentioned last week on the episode as well. I was actually invited to do the content creator pack rush that Hobbyist Novice and Zbax put on. So I'm really excited. I got to do my first round the last week. The episode hasn't released yet, but stay tuned. That'll drop soon. And then you'll get to find out if I am going to be on the next episode, which spoiler alert, I am. So I won. Whee! Oh my god, spoiler. But yeah, so not only that is that first episode coming out, but I'll be on the next round as well.
That's so exciting. I'm so happy for you. Also, with you as well, we have the Queen of the Ink special episode Sunday, which is in a celebration of our Lorcana community, the women members of the Lorcana community for International Women's Day, which I think is fantastic. Andy is telling me currently that you might have to set aside around 4 hours of your day on Sunday for that, but it's going to be great content. I'm very excited about it.
It might be a little bit of a long episode, not quite 4 hours. I don't know. We'll have to see what we end up when we're done editing it. There were a little bit of technical difficulties, but we made it. We made through it. I was so happy to have Enchanted Kim and Sarah, the Lorcana librarian, on with me. We yapped a lot, we chatted a lot, answered a lot of questions, had a bit of a retrospective moments here and there. And overall, it was just an amazing time. I'm so glad that we got to do it, and I'm so glad I got to sit down with two amazing women in the community. So it's definitely something that you guys should keep a ear out for because it's sure to be a really good episode.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about it. And glad to have your voices on the podcast. So that's our news this week. Although I just do want to shout out for those folks that are listening. Be prepared. The week after, it's going to be the release of some new products from Ravensburger for Winter Spell, the gift set, and what do they call the? There's the collector's binder. That's right. And
Collectors. Is it the collector's binder? Collector's
or is
starter
it like
set.
kit? Collector's starter set. Thank you. They'll be releasing in retail, and of course, the great Bell Hidden Archer playmat will be available on Ravensburger.com, which we have a link below. But I don't think it works for Lorcana stuff. Is that right, Andy?
I think
Yeah.
that's true.
I don't think so.
That's a bummer.
Okay.
It's all right.
But still, buy some puzzles. Fine.
Yeah, buy some puzzles. All right. Well, the mayor isn't here. He's taken a week off, which is no big deal here. But we've got some questions still from our constituents. Kirsten, you want to read this first question?
Sure. Lucas, one of our good friends in the local area, asked, "Who is the player in the STL area who you have the most trouble beating, and why do you think they're so good against you?" And I'm just gonna say it's Aiden. It's always such an intense match, whether like we're in just like normal rounds or if we're at the finals or in top whatever. I've been paired against him quite a few times, and it's always so intense. Like, I feel like I'm always fighting for my life against this kid who just has like unlimited mental capacity for the game. I feel like we kind of talked about this on the ladies episode a little bit, but like kids have like I feel like such an easier time having this like skill in a trading card game because they don't have anything else to think about. Their brain is just like empty other than like, oh, I gotta go to school tomorrow. Like they have so much room for all of those like those knowledge pieces and whatnot that like they just excel beyond their like age. And I think that him beating DKP and getting his gold Mickey and everything like that is just like a really good example of like he is not somebody you really want to sit across from. And if you do, I hope you're scared because I am.
He always like makes you feel like
Yeah.
you're taking forever too, because he's already thought out
that's
his
true.
turn, your
He's
turn,
so
2
fast.
turns ahead, and it's just like, yeah, are you
Uh-huh.
done yet? I'm ready to beat you 3 turns from now. Like it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
He also likes to chat though too, like especially when you're taking too long, he'll like bring up like other subjects and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, bro, I'm trying to think about like what I need to do next here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good choice. What about you, Andy?
Well, for me, it's not Aiden because I found a trick that works for the kids. You show them your shiny, iconic cat is probably licking right now, but you set your deck box down with your iconic card, and they get distracted by it, and they forget all of the important knowledge that they need. But for me, it's probably Kirsten. Mainly, I don't know how many times she beat me. We're probably pretty even in it, but I usually tend to talk a little trash and, you know, GG
A
easy
little.
as I sit down across from her, and a lot of times I end up eating my words. So, um, maybe if I was a little more humble playing against Kirsten, I would have a better win rate. But we practice together all the time, so she knows the deck I'm playing. She knows how I'm gonna play it, and it's definitely a disadvantage to me for sure.
Yeah. I think for me it is Grape Sandy, who I like one, he's like our resident dogs player, and so it's always, as we've just said earlier, kind of an annoying deck to play against. But also, and he's a very skilled player with that deck, but also he's just also really good in limited formats. And so I often get paired into him when we have like sealed events here. And there's always something crazy that he's been cooking up that it's can be a challenge to win there. All right.
Yeah.
Next question.
All right. It's from Paul. Since the vast majority of us are only looking forward to, at best, a set championship, how relevant do you think it is to analyze these larger CCQs and DLCs when preparing for a local event?
Andy, you want to take the first crack here?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. This is definitely something we've talked about before, sort of this translation of what you could call like the national or the international metagame and how it relates to your LGS. I think it would be foolish to ignore it, right? A lot of people, this is a good thing. A lot of people are going to get their decks or deck ideas from these larger scale tournaments. It doesn't have to be like, the best, top 8 decks or whatever, but even just other decks that were represented. They're going to try and use this same information to judge what they want to play, what they should play, and how they should tech their deck. So you have to put some thought into it. But ultimately, at a local level, especially the smaller your local level is, the more these sort of personalized touches come into it, right? Like, I don't have to worry about Brad playing, the top meta deck, right? If Amethyst Steel is 60% of the meta and winning, Brad's never going to touch that deck with a 29.5 foot, right? I know that players like Vince said, Grape Sandy, likes the dogs deck. I know some of these players and what I can expect them to play. So, that's certainly more important information. But at the same time, your local meta, your local players are not playing in every DLC and every CCQ across the entire world, and you can't just like look at their deck lists on Ink Decks before the tournament and find out what you think they're going to be on. They're not DKP, though, unless you go to DKP's local, which case, sorry.
I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, good luck winning that one. But yeah, so in short, you got to take it into account, the larger metagame, use it for inspiration, but definitely know the players that you're going up against at your LG.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think what Andy's saying here is right. That, like, your local metagame is going to be the most important. And knowing that is going to be more critical than knowing the larger meta. And the reason for that, just to kind of expand on Andy, here's like numbers, right? So, like, you look at like a DLC and you see something like, 30% are on dogs, 30% are on Amethyst Steel, 30% are on Blurple. And your odds of pairing into some of those in a larger tournament tend to actually be pretty high. But when you like are on a smaller scale, you go to a set champs that has maybe 10 to 20 people. The distribution is very, very different. And so understanding like what people there play, matters more, because you're more likely to pair into some of these more unlikely decks. Like maybe you've got a player that just loves to play, Sapphire Steel, for example. And they play that every single set. So that player is going to be there. And so you might have to take that into account, because maybe your deck is a meta deck and it's not necessarily built for that matchup. So really understanding the local meta, I think, tends to be a little bit more important, just because the numbers about how you're going to pair into folks will matter more. That there's potential, I think, for more variance in a local metagame than there are in DLCs, right? Like there's, I think, 1 or 2 Emerald Ruby decks at the DLC here in Melbourne. And, the odds of you pairing into that are pretty low. But if one person is playing that deck in a 20-person tournament, the odds of you pairing into that become all of a sudden exponentially higher.
Kirsten?
Yeah, I agree. I always look at like the meta from the bigger events, mostly because like I think it's interesting. I want to keep up on what is in the meta for bigger events, but when it comes to like local set champs and stuff like that, the best thing you can do is just kind of look at the roster, like who's signed up, who's going. If you know your local area and your local players, it's always good to kind of sit down and try to like evaluate and predict what they're going to play and base your decision off that. Just because the DLC has like 50% blurple doesn't mean your local area is going to be 50% blurple. It really just depends on your people and the area that you're in. I mean, even for us, we are going to have that like 1 or 2 people who are playing Emerald Ruby. Shout out Ryan for his Christmas deck. But it just depends on your area. Like, are you a really like competitive local game store? If you are, they're probably going to be playing meta decks. If you're in a more casual, league, and they have a set champs, you might get more of those like weird off meta decks that like you're never going to see any other time. So I think that like analyzing the meta from larger events is always good to do, no matter if you're going to set champs or if you're going to a bigger event. But obviously, like analyzing the people in your area is probably a little more key into making your decisions on what you're going to play. And then obviously just, whatever you're comfortable with is probably best.
The best way to read your local metagame and get more knowledge on those players is to frequent your local game store. Support local game stores near you.
Yep.
Or if you're in the St. Louis area, watch the mayor's local meta report.
A good one.
There you go.
Some people hold back on that information. Some people, I've heard that there is like a metagame within the metagame because of Brad's local meta report, where they take different decks to locals, win with them, get them published, and then show up with something completely different to set champs the next week. It's conspiracy theory, but I hear it happens. There's a lot of gaming going on in St. Louis.
You never know.
Yeah. So, what a wonderful conspiracy theory to end this week's Constituents Corner. We love your questions, and we want you to ask more of them. And the ways in which you can do that is on our Discord with the link below. We have a great community over there in our Constituents Corner channel, but you can also write questions on our YouTube channel, which is great because that helps the algorithm and helps more people see our wonderful faces here and the content that we put out. And so it's super helpful. So if you got a question, also drop it in the comments below. with that, let's move on to our main segment here. So I do want to talk a little bit about the metagame because I know we're fast approaching set champs here in just a month's time. But I want to talk about DLC Melbourne because it was so fun. So this is the goodie bag they give you for being
I
a
love
VIP
it.
member.
That's a nice bag.
That's
Yeah,
a $600 due bag right there.
I actually, because I know you would like these. So I think it was like the regular VIP members or whatever got these like paper ones.
Oh,
I
it's
got
like a
you
little
one of
gift
these.
bag.
Yeah, so it's like a little gift bag. So,
That's so
people were like
cool.
we're just like getting rid of them and taking the stuff out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take those, and because I know people really like that.
Yeah.
You also get a little lore book
The fancy
portfolio.
binder.
Yeah, a little fancy binder.
Is it the same one, or is it different? Is it this one?
No, it's the same. It's the same one. Yeah, yeah. And then you got a first chapter box.
Why haven't you opened that?
Well, so okay, I will get into this a little bit here. So they had a first chapter sealed event that you were going to go do, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this is for. And I was already enrolled in the core constructed event that was running simultaneously. And the ticket payout was crazy. So you got 10 tickets for a loss and 20 tickets for a win. And just to put that in context, 20 tickets got you a Let It Go promo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the ticket pricing was crazy good. And so I sat down to go over it because at this event, they gave us the Dragonfire promo card just for participating in this event, like the non-foil one. So I went and sat down. I didn't bring this with me. And I asked them, I was like, are there any tickets for this? Any additional pricing? And they're like, no. And it's probably the worst like kind of negative experience I had at the event because it turns out that you got, for participating in this event, you also got a free Let It Go promo at the end of it. So I didn't know that, so I didn't stay.
Right.
So I got this. But no, what I want to do with this is I'd like to host a like St. Louis local Rules of Villainy like draft with this box.
Okay.
I think that would be fun.
That would be fun.
They give you a whole booster box for a sealed event?
Yeah, they gave you a whole booster box for a sealed event.
So but it was normal sealed. So 6 packs and you just keep the rest?
Yeah. Somebody did pull a Elsa, I think. I heard
so that
like
box
a big
washed,
loud roar.
man. Okay.
So that may not be the
Awesome,
thing.
though.
You also got some lore pads in here. They gave you some snacks. So got some jumpies. Got a hat.
Let's go.
Yes. Okay.
A shirt as well.
A shirt would
and
be
then
nice. Yeah.
and then these this is like the it's probably hard to see with the plastic on it, but this is the Donald Duck Along for the Ride promo, and it's actually signed by the artist because he was there.
That's so cool.
Matt Chapman. Yeah, he's an Australian artist. And then they give you 2 more of these little things in there, the kind of like card things, which is pretty cool. Let's see, what else did I get? More snacks, because gotta have snacks. And then you got to choose a playmat. So I got the Simba playmat in my kit, and then I got a shirt too. The shirt, I forgot about the shirt. And then because I got so many freaking tickets, I was able to get the Mulan mat as
Nice.
well. And then of course can't forget the promos. Of course, we get the Pegasus. We get the Pegasus non-foil. I got the Dragonfire promo for that, just sitting down for that sealed event. I got 2 Mulan promos. One for the main event. And what they actually it was like ours, 3 wins and you would get one. But if you stayed for the entire event, they gave you one anyway,
Oh,
which
so
I thought
you
was really
okay?
nice.
Cool.
That's really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, I thought that was a really great thing to do. So people that
Yeah.
like hadn't even, so it's like you could get 3 wins and you could go if you wanted to be done, but if you still wanted to play it out and have fun, they gave it to you at the end. Then I got another Mulan for I think doing the Core Construct It side event. I got this Stitch. This is the official like this season promo,
Convention.
the high convention
Nice.
promo. And then the 3 Let It Goes for my tickets, because like I said, I got a boatload of freaking tickets.
Well, 3
and then
wins.
these were the other 3.
So those 3 Let It Goes represent the 3 wins you got. Joking.
Well,
you
no,
got a bunch of
yeah.
other stuff with your tickets. Yeah, but those
Because I got the playmat for
Right.
the tickets
was
as
3
well.
wins
Because
worth of
they
tickets.
also
crazy.
they also gave you tickets in your kit too. So I started off
Nice.
with 30 tickets just for like getting in, and then these promos, the Elsa, the Simba, and the non-foil Mulan were also part of the kind of like experience. And then I did the they had a special event on Sunday where you could build a Zootopia only deck using only Zootopia cards. And so they gave you for that, they gave you the movie promo.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
One per
so
party
I got
though.
Another
One.
Yeah. It turns out I was talking to Naomi because she was here and she did a like we got like a, for the VIP members, we kind of got a private like a pack rush with her. And apparently that was like actually a pretty common experience, not just in the United States, but globally. And so Ravensburger knows about this. They're working with their vendors to try to fix that. And I think they also I know for folks in the US especially, they're thinking about other ways to get those promos to be more accessible. So they're just not like at Cinemark theaters in the United States.
Cinemark,
Yay.
the smallest theater chain in all of North America.
I think that's awesome.
But also you get they got these. These are like little, I don't know if they're like luggage tags or little lanyards. Maybe I'll pull one out of plastic here. These were exclusive to Australia. Or the Oceania, I should say.
Those are really cool.
Yeah, so they're like little, you can put your
favorite
card
in
there and put your favorite card. Yeah, and so I got one of
Nick Wilde.
Nick Wilde, thank you. And one of Judy Hopps.
That's super cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Really neat.
And then when you did Pack Rush with Naomi, if you won, I also think she did it if you lost too. So there's really no. You could get a promo card from her. Like she had like a little card box, and she had a whole bunch of promos. And this is the promo I got. The
signature Mickey card. I love it.
Yeah,
that's really
cool.
Awesome.
So yeah,
you know,
so
you need to
honestly,
go with that signature Mickey card, Vince. You need one of these signature Elsa cards that we have.
Wait, you have a signature Elsa card?
See it's the same kind.
Oh, where'd you get those?
These are actually not ours. Well, they're not mine and Kirsten's. They are Rules of Villainy. We are giving these away at a future event. We got them from Richmond, Team 99.
That's awesome.
We had some extra tickets. The ticket market in Richmond was wild, mate. It's nothing like down under. But we got rid of some of our extra tickets, and they donated all of these awesome couple parks promos and these ones as well. So if you're not already liked and subscribed, you need to be, and you need to plan some PTO to come to the St. Louis area for our next big event, so you can try and get your those.
Yeah, and another Elsa pin. I forgot the Elsa pin, which actually this will also go in our Rule Villain prize.
We got a big old prize pool at this point.
Yeah, at this point you could win an ROV event and potentially walk home with more prizing than a DLC. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we got a lot going on here.
We do. We have a lot of prizes.
We just need a custom golden card. Oh, and then this is a lanyard, which is pretty cool. They had like VIP, special VIP, competitor
It's really cool.
badges and stuff. The VIP folks got a puzzle.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Which honestly, like, I was kind of like, please don't give me a puzzle. I don't know how am I gonna, the puzzles are kind of in big boxes.
They are.
Know, can you see them? I was like, I don't want to hold that back to the United States. I'm good. But honestly, like, I thought it was a really well run event. It was kind of in a unique venue. So talking with the folks down here, Australia doesn't have a lot of like size event spaces. It's kind of like, you got like a hotel conference room, and then you get your like major conventions, and they're pretty expensive. So this is like a unique space. It's kind of like the for St. Louis listeners or U.S. listeners, I would say it's like basically it was almost in like it was in like the stadium here that they play Australian rules football in. And it was like in their like VIP kind of suite area where they had and stuff. So I mean, it was a neat setup, just an interesting venue. And then they had like one concession stand open and stuff. But I mean, I can't complain too much because there were only like 450 competitors. So it's a pretty small event, smaller than it was last year. But I thought it was. Like I heard folks that talked about it last year. I think there's some complaints about it this year. I had an overall really great experience with it, I mean, I think probably the biggest complaint was the first day where they said the event I think was supposed to start at like 8:30 or 9 or something like that, and it didn't. Like it was like 30 minutes late before the gate opened up and stuff. But
that's nothing we don't have over here.
Yeah, I know, right? And honestly, I thought that them running the events were pretty like on top of it. In fact, if I really had any one complaint is I think they could have probably given a little bit more time between the announcing of when rounds were published and when rounds started, because it was basically like rounds are published and it was like, we're starting right now, and I like look at the clock when I was sitting down, and it was already ticking down. I was like, "Holy crap!" I was like, "Can we just get a little bit more time, mate?"
That happened in Richmond too. I didn't notice it until like maybe round 5 or 6, something like that. But like I would, it was probably round 5 or 6 because a couple of the rounds I had to like go look for my name on the paper because the play hub was going a little slow. But yeah, you'd sit down and it would just look over the clock and you're like, cool, we got 52 minutes left. Awesome. I guess it started already. But that might just be like a tournament thing, trying to keep it all on time, especially if you start late, right? The later they start, I imagine the more they are just like, go. We gotta pack this in.
Yeah. I also think they had a pretty like hard stop for their venue as well and stuff. So but yeah, the Lorcana community here is small in Australia, but it is really fantastic. It's super great. Very much like we see here in the United States, people helping folks out with tickets, with cards and getting what they need. And honestly, even the vendors here were really great too that they had. So the artist here, Matt Chapman, one of the like sales booths there, like went through all their commons and found all the commons that he had, like commons and uncommons that he had drawn, and put them in a box. So if people needed them to get signed, they could get them from
$5, right?
And it's for free. No, free. Totally free. Totally.
You mean
free.
they weren't selling the bags of dice for $5?
They don't have capitalism down there in Australia.
In fact, they had. In fact, you could walk up to their booth and grab any common and uncommon for free at any time. Because awesome. I looked through it because I couldn't find my Tiggers for this from the winter spell. And I did not pack them, and I didn't think about asking anybody like Hammond, who's one of our listeners here, who's really great, and their whole team. I didn't think at all on the day before to ask him to bring if he had them and I could get them. So I like looked through their comments, but of course it's such a new set, they didn't have any of those in there. But it's fine. Hammond actually gave me 2 of the Tiggers the next day, so I could change my core constructed deck
Nice.
to be a
That's
little bit better.
cool.
But it was so really nice.
So let me ask you this then, because they had it in Melbourne. Now they have it in Ghent. Maybe not Ghent, maybe Dortmund. But the VIP package, you think we should bring that to the NA?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
I would buy that.
There's
without question.
Okay, because the only negative I can think of for the VIP is, from my financial advisor, because it gives you access to like that special area. What it means is that Kirsten and I can't just buy one and then get the prizes from it, so that we don't have to work as hard for the tickets and things, because then only one of us would be able to go in and get the free Vegemite and all the snacky stuff. So
I think it was like super worth it. I think it's actually I'll say this is I think it is certainly worth it if you can only go to one DLC for sure, because it's a great way to basically guarantee that you have a shot of getting everything that you want. Minus the prizes that are in the main event to win, like the
how much
the
for the
more
VIP,
valuable kind of foils?
How much for the VIP package that comes with a gold Mickey?
yeah.
$10,000.
Yeah,
just shell it.
I think it was definitely certainly worth it. I actually think the U.S. and if they bring it to the U.S., but the European package is actually probably a little bit more valuable than the package I bought here in Australia, because I think you get both mats. You also get the bag, that like cool branded bag, which is actually like pretty good. You get the you get a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's great for us as speak for content creators. I actually think it's great for us in particular because it allows us to get stuff, but also then any other stuff we get, we can put to pricing for events for folks that can't make it to these. So there's less struggle about trying to like get everything for everybody that's there, and more about being able to spend more time and resources to get more prizes from the wall so that you can bring that stuff home. So I think that's actually pretty cool. And honestly, the like area that they had set up, like I don't know how they're going to do it in Ghent, is kind of really nice. Like I was able to that first day talk to DKP for a little bit, just like him one-on-one a little bit, like while we were like re-sleeving our decks. And there weren't that many people in there, so it's kind of a good way to get away from folks if you just need like a break for a second.
DKP sleeving his deck. Vince is like looking over his shoulder like, dude, I should put one of those Tiggers in my deck. Okay. Wasabi? Did you just sleeve up 2 Wasabis, DKP? Okay, hold on, let me all right, I'll be right back. I gotta go fix my deck list. I gotta resubmit my deck list. Sorry.
And then the same vendor also did a raffle for a graded iconic Minnie Mouse. So they sold 300 tickets. So it was a limit. And it wasn't the only thing they raffled, by the way. They raffled a whole bunch of other stuff. And so each ticket, I think, was like $10 Australian, which is like $7 US. So I mean, you're gambling a little bit, but they raffled it off. And they had a bounty players, so players that they had paid, to compete in the event still. And if you beat them in the event, they gave you a little ticket to go back to the booth to get free packs.
Oh, that's really cool. So like an unofficial
super
bounty
cool
program.
Yeah, like an unofficial bounty program. Yeah, they had like
That's
this
super
little
cool.
thing on the back behind their booth that showed like they had like wanted posters of every
That's
player
so
that was
fun.
in there, which was really fun. So
Did you collect the reward on any of those bounty players?
I didn't. The only reason I actually knew that it happened is because in 3 successive rounds, I was the table right next to the bounty player as they were like, and I wasn't even paying attention until like at the end when they like hand out like, well, you just got to go to this booth here and they'll give you some free packs.
And then Vince beats
And I
his
was like,
opponent,
wait.
and he's like, "Fork it over." Wait, where's my free boosties? I won.
That's super fun though.
Yeah. As far as the competition and stuff went, I felt like I did better than I've done in any DLC, which isn't saying a lot, but getting closer and closer to getting to those top tables. My final record was 4-4-1, and I'm a little aggravated about that tie because that should have been a win, 100%. It only is a tie because of time.
Hey,
Well,
time management goes into it too.
according to this, 4-4-1, Vince was 183rd at DLC Melbourne. That's, I mean, we won't say how many total there were. Don't.
Yeah, 184.
I'll edit out the part earlier where Vince said there was how many there were total, but that's pretty good. That goes on the resume, sure. 183rd DLC Melbourne.
But I liked it so much that I thought this would be a one-time trip, but I actually want to think about coming back down here again. It's a long flight. That's the only thing. It's a very, very long flight.
Yeah. I don't envy that.
What's up, Andy?
I don't envy
I believe
that.
it. Yeah, I believe it. That's a
Yeah.
long flight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait till they build a bridge.
But you both need to get your passports because Worlds is one day going to be in Japan or in Paris.
Yeah, I would definitely go to Japan. That would be cool. That would be a lot of fun. Well, we should probably talk a little bit about the metagame.
Yeah, let's do it.
But let's start off with this. You played Blurple in Melbourne, right?
Yep, I did.
How did it feel? Are you throwing it away for dogs? Are you gonna try and stick with it going through the set? Any key decisions that you made that were good or bad?
So I think there are a few decision points you can make in Blurple. I really liked it. I felt really great. The mirror is where I think I personally just didn't devote as much attention to practice as I really should have. And in the mirror, the die roll can be really, really important. So if you go first, I'd be really curious to know what the statistics are over like the course of the metagame. Like, if you go first in Blurple in a mirror match, like what is your percentage increase to win? But it's certainly not like insignificant. Like it's certainly like you get a better advantage, I think, going first. And there's a lot of times, I think the biggest thing though that I find with Blurple is it can be really, really brutal to misramp. And that can't, and I mean, I had a lot of games where I just didn't misramp. And there's not a lot you can do to fix that. I guess you could add more ramp cards to your deck, but I just don't know where I know there are a lot of folks that really like adding things like develop or adding things like one jump. Develop isn't really a ramp card, but it can at least give you another opportunity to like search for other cards, and doesn't reduce your hand size because it replaces itself. And one jump though is an uninkable to song, so that's can increase your uninkable counts. Although I know a lot of people are running high amounts of uninkable counts because Sven was a very popular card in Blurple decks here, which is a card I chose not to play. And I still feel good about that decision for the most part. The only thing is Sven. The danger about Sven, I think, is that especially the first player advantage here, has really can almost always get a 2-for-1 on the Sven, because with the exception of Dumbo, but basically it will survive going into Genie. It survives going into Elsa, which are your kind of main.
I think you said Sven going second, right? Sven going second,
No,
even more powerful because
I would. You think it going second?
So-
Sven is more powerful.
the normal play line, right? Like is you have
Yeah.
the Basil, or even without the Basil, but you've got, I guess, without the Basil. If they have the Basil, then it makes it harder. But if they go Genie and you go Genie, and then they go Elsa, tap down your Genie, and swing both Genie and Elsa in, you can play Sven, swing the Sven into Elsa, and now the Genie would trade with the Sven if they tried to clap back on it.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they can't
Yeah.
exert that Genie, or your Sven will get for one there. So I feel like Sven is really good. It's probably really good on the play too, right? But you have to you don't want to play him on 4 because they're in a mirror match. There's nothing to swing him into,
Right.
and you don't want to play him on 5.
That's right.
Unless they've already exerted their Genie, which so it's which they can't have because they will have just played their Genie. So yeah, Sven's really, really good though. It's a shame he's uninkable.
Yeah. The other card I saw a lot of too is the 5-drop Pete, and I feel really strongly that is not a great card in the meta, particularly right now, just because of it being almost immediately answerable by Let It Go. And so it can be just because it doesn't have an initial impact on board, you've got to at least wait a turn. And the best case scenario, the worst case scenario is you get nothing out of it. The best case scenario is if you play it on curve, you get 1 card from it. And I think that's real expensive for its overall value. And it a 5/5 doesn't really.
Sven takes it out.
At my point, yeah, Sven exactly. Sven takes it out. It's not really this. It doesn't hold the same presence on the board. I mean, it won't swing in and take out something like a Hades, right? Like you'd have to have something like a Basil on board to support it in order to take it out. It would survive, but I just don't. I wasn't particularly hot on that card, and just seeing it in action, it kind of feels like a waste. Like there'd be a lot of times where my opponent would play it, much later in the game, where it maybe becomes more valuable because you have less cards in hand. But it's like, say they play it on turn 6, they play it and they boost it, and then comes to my turn, and I'm just like, well, I don't like. You've already got 30 ink, ink in your inkwell. Like, here, have 2 more. I don't.
Yeah.
Here's Let It Go.
And if they,
it's almost or like a Hades.
Yep. And if they play and boost it on turn 6, and you're on the play, then that means it's your turn 7. So now it's not just Let It Go; it's Hades as well that could take it out.
Yeah.
And
or you're in the range of things like Demona and stuff. Demona is a really interesting card though, because I tell you what, there are matchups where you're like, I do not want to give my opponent a single card because I will lose this game.
Dogs.
And so, Dogs is a great one. And I think actually Dogs is a great example of a card why Wasabi is almost a must need in Blurple these days, because of things like the Chromacon. They get that Chromacon out, and it is the math. It becomes so challenging. And I think we saw this in the finals here, right? And this is why I still think Blurple is actually a really good deck, is because it made it to the finals here. It just got steamrolled by Dogs, unfortunately.
Yeah, it has, and Blurple has good answers too for the Chromacon. It has available options at least to answer it.
Yeah,
the Wasabi, but also I think DKP recently has been trying the Cusco.
Cusco.
He says it doubles as like a location
Removal.
location removal, because library kind of making a comeback maybe. But yeah, we looked at me and the team, we looked at your list earlier, but I've got it brought up again. You went with 9 1-drops, so you added the extra Olaf in there. And you also 2 magical maneuvers for Cheshire. So you were really hoping to get that big payoff of a Cheshire bounce with with some of those.
Yeah.
And
The magical maneuvers, awesome. Love that card. It just comes in clutch so many times because there are a lot of times in matchups where your opponent doesn't want to exert anything, and it basically helps break the stalemate of that. And it was also a great answer for something like Iago and Amir.
Mhm.
Yeah,
it can be like that. Iago can go.
Okay.
The only time that card sucks is when you're playing against a deck that leans very, very heavily forward. So, so there were matchups. So I played I think 2 matchups of a, what was it? Emerald Sapphire. One I won. And the guy I played is great. His name's Joshua. Shout out to him. And the one I lost was the kind of newer variant, the Ink Geyser variant that had made an appearance there.
that one's
And that one's brutal, real brutal.
yeah. The Ink Geyser.
Guys is super hard to play against. I mean, like it when they get their stuff going, it feels absolutely impossible to win the game because they'll just do a bunch of ink shenanigans and then geyser you, and they have a bunch of tools and combos to get them back up to like a significant amount of ink. Meanwhile, you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna ink this and get to 4 ink again.
Yeah,
It kind of
Super rough.
even without the ramp, the Ink Geyser is like really brutal. Like even just the concept of going really high in ink, dumping your hand, creating a board, especially with a board wipe, right? If you can successfully pull off the combo of board wipe, play a couple characters, and then Ink Geyser, they've got like a Clarabelle or Big Prince Philip or something on board. These are like 7, 8, 9 cost characters on board. They have like 20
Yeah.
inks worth of characters on board, and you have 4 ink, right? You'll be going on to 4 ink. They don't even need to ramp back up. It's just over that point. You'll never be able to catch up and clear that board.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is like they can. One is they've got the ability to play, a lot of their characters at like 6 ink, in that deck, to shift, say, Clarabelle, right? Because I think she's
Shift 5.
Shift 4, Shift 5, so 5 ink. And so they can. There's an incentive there in that deck to be able to continue to re-ink to ramp up again, and then get the Clarabelle out. And you still, because you can't empty your hand as fast as a Blurple player, and so you play that Clarabelle, and then they can just refill their hand. And at that point, really, it is game over because basically they have all the control pieces to control the rest of the game. Because now they don't have to do things like play things like You're Welcome on you. They can, on them to get more cards in hand. They can start doing things like play You're Welcome on you because they no longer care. Because what's the difference? If you have 8 cards in hand, why do I care if you have 12 cards in hand? That 12th card isn't going to save you.
Yep. You have no ink to play it anyway. So like, what
exactly, right?
You can also do really tricky things since you're the one controlling the Ink Geyser. You could play, you have like 15 plus ink. You could play Sail, maybe 2 Sails, play a Cindy, right? Or Moana now is a new one. And then Ink Geyser. And then ink for turn, ink for Sail, ink for Cindy at the end of turn. So they're going back on to 7 ink next turn, and you're still stuck at 3.
Yeah. It can be real brutal. I mean, this is partly why I think if I were still playing something like Purple Steel, something like Pete would have to like almost an auto in my opinion.
Got a lot of stonks now, right? The Raging Storm stops the Philip combo.
Yep.
Under the Sea. Yep.
See, let it go with it back now.
Yeah, that was the only new card in your deck, right, Vince? 4 Let It Goes.
Yeah, it's the only new card, and it's not even a new card; it's just a replay. But yeah.
That was a common theme with Blurple, though. Like a lot of those decks that we were seeing, like literally only had Let It Go as like their new card.
There's Tigger, Sven. We talked about Pete. I kind of agree with Vince. It's not the
Flavors.
greatest, but Tigger, Sven are 2 good inclusions. I can't think of any others.
I would have
particularly prominent.
Had I had it, I would have put Tigger in for sure, because the ability to bounce your opponent's characters, especially in something like purple, steel or whatever and stuff, you can bounce a character back and really throw your opponent off tempo for when they want to sing that on turn 4 strength, for say like a genie or something, because I think previously to that card being in, basically if you're in that matchup, you're on turn 4, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna play genie, I want that card back, but I know my is almost certainly respond with a strength in hand. And so being able to be like, I'm gonna bounce back,
Calhoun.
A Calhoun
for the best target,
is
right?
the bigger one, probably the best target. But I mean, even if it's not, putting something like a Olaf or Olaf probably isn't the best card to actually bounce back because of its trigger ability.
Cheshire.
Yeah, but if you Cheshire is 3 costs, so 2 costs or less. It has to be 2 costs or less.
2 costs or less.
So it's kind of almost like a catch-22, but I think like you play Tigger on 4, which is your 3, and instead of like a genie, you could bounce back their true drop, but ultimately they've already got their 3 drop out. They're still going to play a 3rd character, and then Tigger only has 3 willpower, so they'll still be able to strength your Tigger away. But they did lose a character, and it especially if it's something like Calhoun, they can't ink it now, right? Honestly, if you bounced an Olaf back and they decided to bounce one of their cards back, like that's awesome.
Right.
I don't know why they would do that, but then I guess in theory your genie is safer, right? Or you just sort of bypassed losing one of your best characters on that turn, and you then next turn go to Elsa, and you can Elsa plus Basil and take out, maybe their Cheshire or whatever it is. Not to mention if you're threatening with played Royal Guard instead of Rafiki, so if you with Royal Guard now they play any of them really, any of the 3 drops they're questing with, there is this potential that you can just slam a Woodchuck Guidebook or something, or on turn 5 play Hades. They let you draw 2, and now you're taking out, because they have to exert obviously to sing that strength. So now you have a free angle at either their like Lexington or their or their Cheshire Cat or whatever. Or some people are playing Gigi. I'm not a big fan of Gigi. Gigi, is it Gigi or Gigi? Gigi.
Gigi.
But I think Gigi is like an Italian grandmother, right? Isn't that like a nickname for like Nona? But yeah, you can with a Gigi, you can just like send your Tipo in and then send your Royal Guard in or whatever.
Just play Lexington
or Elsa or whatever. Yeah, I think Lexington's better.
Yeah.
Stone by Day, it doesn't matter. You're not drunk. You're not keeping that many in your hand, I guess. Say, but
yeah.
I mean, I think there's certainly a lot of options you have there. I think the other thing that's about the Tigger in particular is I think it can be pretty good against the dogs deck too, on tempo play. But again, I think much like something like Magical Maneuvers, the harder decks where that card just doesn't work as well is when your opponent has a pretty like heavily worded deck. Which
it is
generally like a problem with It is, yeah, it is inkable, so that is nice.
Unlike
Yeah.
Sven.
Yeah,
Poor Sven.
yeah. I don't dislike Sven. I like Sven. I just didn't know where to fit him in the deck.
So
Yeah.
in my mind, it's
This is a
Sven over
problem.
Tigger, right? Because on turn, your 4-ink turn, you're playing against dogs or aggro, and you're going to bounce something away. The pros for Tigger is that it can bounce an unexerted character, like a Grandmother Willow or something they just played. The pros for Sven, though, is that it fully removes an exerted. I mean, a Sven will take out anything but a big Tramp. Probably isn't exerted at that point. So, they're like a Daisy Duck. Sven goes right in and takes that out. Whereas if you play a Tigger on a Daisy Duck, it's just slowing them down a little bit. And
Daisy's gonna come back like a Lilo zombie.
and Elsa, like you don't have a lot of big hitters in Blurple. I mean, Demona is the biggest one.
Yeah.
But Elsa is great because it exerts something, but it needs Basil. That's why Basil is there, right? To make Elsa big enough. And so it's an interesting one. I want to try and practice Blurple versus dogs with free Tigger. Basically, you play the game, but you always have Tigger in your hand, and see, does that actually help the matchup, right? So you play a normal game of Blurple, but you have one Tigger off to the side, and I play, you play one card short, I guess, right? You just always include a Tigger in your hand, and you think, okay, I have this every time versus dogs. Is it actually impactful? Let's play a couple games like that. Does it actually work? And then maybe do the same thing with Sven. Say, which one of these helps me take control of? Because I don't know if they're inking every turn, or even if they're not. They 2 for the Willow. They played a 3rd card for that 1 drop for free. Play Tigger. You bounce the Willow. What if they just play the Willow, get another 1 drop? I mean, like, you stop the Tramp a little early, but it's like this is rough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the hardest thing there is like I just the real problem for Blurple is it needs a card that it needs its own like Pete, something like the Pete effect, right? That prevents an action from occurring, because it is so vulnerable to Under the Sea. So vulnerable to Under the Sea.
Very under
it's
the
like
sea.
you think about it. Yeah, you think about it. It's like you've got Genie, Elsa. All your one drops are all gone. So they can ramp up and shift, and by the time you're on turn 5, and that's the real struggle, is they can be singing something like Under the Sea, because they don't turn anything sideways and they just sing with everything, and basically you're now starting totally from scratch.
Yep.
And they've got a whole board,
and
so it's a real challenge, and I don't know what the answer is.
Well, all the you mentioned all the ones that naturally get Under the Sea, but all of your characters except for Demona are just like one step up from that, right? They're all 3, the Cheshire, the Dumbo, both Hades, maybe not Iago if you're playing that, although Della is just completely banished Iago, so that's a whole nother problem. But 1 Rhino, 1 Della is all it takes to just completely wipe that for Blurple. Whereas comparatively, like Amethyst Steel, you have a lot more. 2 drops 3 strength. Your 3 drops 3 or 4 strength. Your 4 drops 3 or 4 strength. You don't have as many acceptable cards to it. I find the best answer to Big Tramp early is Elsa Elsa into the Unknown. So you have to like Genie or something on 4, and then Elsa. Then they play the Tramp. You have to Elsa the Tramp and then sing Into the Unknown. It's not great. It's harder to do than Tiana. Tiana with the Amber Steel, everyone was always like, Blurple can't beat Amber Steel. They just go like, 1, 2, 3, Tiana, and turn sideways, and you're done. And I'm like, well, all I need to do is hold an Into the Unknown, right? Just find an Into the Unknown and keep that. Boom, problem solved. But now I need the Elsa as well, because they're not turning that Tramp sideways until they're ready to wipe your board. See? So
Yeah,
Sure.
that is really the problem. Yep.
but
So I know we'll be talking a lot more about the meta games in the weeks to come. But any last thoughts before we move on to what I think is a pretty good segue to our villain of the week?
well, I do got to give a shout out. I'm wearing the detective hat, ZPD, on the job. The Sapphire Steel Detectives deck, tested it a little bit on Deck Test Tuesday. I got my butt whooped by it. Nick from Lorcana Collections, a local here at St. Louis, he was playing the Sapphire Steel Detectives deck. It is the best Brad deck, Mayor of Lorcana deck, a themed deck, a fun deck, one that isn't just like this nasty meta deck, best cards, whatever. It is legitimately it is fun, and it is pretty strong. A little bit of cope, maybe, but it's not bad, I think.
But the thing is,
Dogs beats
Andy,
it.
Tux beats it.
Only if you get lucky.
I beat it.
Yeah, she got lucky.
But the thing is, Andy, if it ends up being a good deck, Brad won't play.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which is fine. That's fine. I gotta say, before we move on that point though, is I had a lot of folks here in Australia that really enjoy like playing their fun decks, and I thought that was great. It's so good to see people that knew that their decks weren't the best, but they were just here to have fun, especially in like the Infinity and constructed events, the side events and stuff. So it was good to see that part of the community, which I know we don't talk about as much. We usually have Brad here to kind of rally that side of the community, but wanted to give a good shout out to all the great players here who, just come to have fun with their Disney cards.
Absolutely. It's all about having fun. Some people winning is having fun. Some people just throwing around some Elsas and some Olafs and, comboing them with their favorite Cuscos and their, favorite beast characters. A lot of fun. Can't blame them for that.
All right. Now, with that, let's get into Villain of the Week. Kirsten, you want to read the card?
Sure, yeah. As always, apologies to Gantu. This week's Villain of the Week is Tramp, obviously, Street Smart Dog. The 7-cost Inkable, 2 strength, 6 willpower, who is just ruining the meta every day. He's getting calls for bans already. But yeah, I think at this point, everybody knows the ability. Now it's a party. For each character you have in play, you pay 1 less to play this character. And the additional ability, when you play this character, you may draw a card for each other character you have in play, then choose and discard that many cards. And the art is by Alan Batson.
Well, I mean, this is definitely a card. I don't think it needs to be banned. I think the people...
I didn't say it did.
I know you didn't, but I just want to... This is for you. If you think Tramp needs to be banned, get good.
Get good.
I don't think it needs to get banned. I think you just need to get better at playing around it. Maybe I haven't tested the meta enough. Maybe I haven't run the numbers enough, crunched the scenarios. Maybe there really is this just unwinnable percentage of times where this big Tramp causes all of these problems. But at least in my testing, at least what I've seen, is it good? Yes. Is it unbeatable? Heck no. So like, don't ban it. Play some cards that go against, Ruby is if Brad were here, he'd be telling you about all the times he's taken out this big Tramp with his Ruby characters, because Ruby has really, really good answers for this. It's unfortunate Ruby has really, really bad cards in every other.
It had better answers. It had better answers to it, though.
Sure.
Ruby?
I agree with that.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
really think that like a Ruby Amethyst matchup with dogs is absolutely miserable. You
Yeah.
can't under the sea everything. Lumia ruins your day, and like you can't turn sideways because all their characters hit for a bunch, and they can still draw cards. They still have the Dumbos. They still have the Cheshires.
And
That game was miserable on deck testing day.
And Headless
Yeah.
Horseman is huge into this Tramp because it comes down right around the same time. You could cheat it out if you're playing something like a Ruby Sapphire deck. You can cheat it out if you're playing Ruby Amber. The big problem is Ruby doesn't bring enough to the table to help you combat the rest of the decks.
Mhm.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you're really worried about dogs, just convince all your friends to bring Ruby decks to set champs, and then
Yep.
you run Blurple.
Right?
And just like Vince
Oops,
said, in a
sorry.
smaller set champs, all those dogs players lose to all those Ruby players, and you beat one of those Ruby Amethyst players with your Blurple deck. You're on the 1-0 track. All those dogs are on
Yeah.
the 0-1 track.
Yeah.
You're not going to see none of them. Back of the line, dog players.
I think what's made this card probably better now, because it's always kind of been a problem in the dogs deck, but I think what makes it worse is just the inclusion of other cards in dogs that we now see that allow them to kind of cheat out characters. And so it allows them, but also like there's cards too to be able to like set themselves up to play things from their discard, discard
Circle
pile.
life?
I don't know why that's on a.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, isn't there that one card that allows them to play like a Tramp from the discard or something?
Oh no,
I don't play dogs.
That's Willow Tweed, and that's a Todd.
Ah.
The main thing, you're right though, but the main one is just tree, right? It's just Grandmother Willow.
Yeah.
Because now you can get this down on
mainly
turn 3. One drop.
It depends. Like
Willow.
But you could also
one
put
drop.
something like the Lilo in your discard, and that way, like when
Back for one.
you're like, got nothing to play, bring it
Mhm.
back.
Yep.
So there are certain options here, but yeah, it's just like it's kind of it can be kind of a brutal card.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
that allows them to scry through their deck really efficiently. So if they
Yes.
have a really crap hand, they can be like, okay, well, I'm going to play this, and I'm going to draw, because at this point they've probably got like 6 characters on board, so they can not only cheat this out at very low ink, they can draw that many cards, and now they're basically saying this is the card. Just imagine if you could draw 7 additional cards. Like, I would have loved to do that in the set champs that you and I played a few weeks ago, where I couldn't find any of my, like, all I just kept top decking was like a Basil. Imagine if I could have been like, let me look through the next 4 cards and I'll discard 4 to find the cards that I want. And essentially that's what that is. You're being able to find the X amount of best cards that you can. That's such a phenomenal ability.
If you don't get the card that you were looking for, but you get another big Tramp,
Let's do it again.
It's a snowball effect, right? Because if this Tramp costs 2 because you had 5 characters out, the next Tramp costs 1 because you now have 6 characters. I've seen players chain 2-3 big Tramps and go through 20 cards in their deck in one single turn, and it's like, even if you don't find, like, who cares what you get in your hand, right? Your board is not under the seeable, blah blah blah. They just played a 2/6 for 1 ink, 2/6 quest for 2 for 1 ink. Then they just played another one in the same turn for 0 ink. What is this? It's like,
Bobby.
The one thing I thought
Yeah.
about, though, Kirsten was reading this, Street Smart Dog, made me think of another very smart dog, a street savvy dog, if you will, that hopefully comes to Lorcana in the future. That may be the answer to this Tramp. You know who's a smarter street smart dog? Dodger.
Who's
That's Billy Joel
Dodger?
Yeah.
himself. Dodger.
Dodger. Yeah.
What
We
could
need
I
yeah.
worry?
Yeah, we need
I
that.
could.
He's
I
got
could see
street
it.
savoir faire. All right, we need
That's
that.
true.
We need that one in here.
I've been waiting for them to do Oliver and Company because I really want a Tito card.
Tito. I
And
need
do you
Greg
want
Tito
it
to.
signed by Tito? Do you want
Yeah.
Tito to sign the Tito card?
Yes,
Mhm.
I need a Greg Tito
Tito's got to
signed
sign the
Tito card.
Tito. Yes.
We should
And,
honestly, they should just
it's
have
like
Greg Tito draw the card. Like I don't even know if Tito has any like artistic ability, and it doesn't really matter, right? Like just
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
scribble on there.
Anyway.
Well, we have this wonderful art by Alan Baston, who has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
11.
I think it's 11.
8, 9,
It says
10.
11.
Well, there's 10. Well, I guess
Oh,
because
or-
there's the I was recounting because of the double daisies.
Yeah.
Because he's got the
Same
epic
art. Oh.
and the common daisy, and it's the same artwork, just
Yep.
Yeah.
extended. And so of those, he's got 3 enchanteds. One of Brad's favorite cards, the Yen Sid, powerful sorcerer.
Do you know that's Disney
Um,
backwards?
Yeah, I do know it's Disney backwards because
And
I'm
the
reminded of
beautiful
it every time.
Cusco. That was one of my
Cusco.
favorite.
Cusco's
enchantments.
Palace.
He's holding
and then, of
Cusco's
course-
poison too.
The poison. Cusco.
The Grammatala, and he's got the Morph, everybody's favorite 2-drop Emerald card, and
Bring back Morph.
the Hades, the Double Dealer.
Is that
What
a
is it,
playmat?
legendary card?
Is that a playmat?
It
It is. I think it is the playmat.
It is a
yeah.
playmat.
And he's got a hey too.
Yeah, don't forget about
Oh,
Hey
yeah.
Hey.
Hey with-
Can't forget about the hey.
Buckethead.
Can't
Hey.
forget about the hey. We need
Yeah.
a hey every set. That's what needs.
We
to
need a
happen.
Hey Hey enchanted.
Ooh.
Can't
It'll
believe we
come
don't
one
have
day.
one of those yet.
Once they're out of
It'll-
golden
it'll
Mickeys, our word on the street is it's going to be a golden hey.
Golden hey.
Let's go.
I think that as much as funny as a joke, that would be. I think that's pretty popular.
That would be really funny.
But let us know your thoughts on the villain of the week. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're joining us on audio, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
And if you're joining us on YouTube, which if you're not, you really should. We have a lot of fun over here. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe. Ring that bell to be notified of all of our other amazing content that comes out. We got Deck Test today. We've got the Mayor's Meta Report. We've got the Queens of the Ink special coming soon to the YouTube channel you're at currently, as well as other fun content. I hear Vince, is there going to be some Down Under content you're going to bring back with you?
Yeah, there's going to be some Down Under
All right,
content. Yep,
all right.
it's coming.
I won't
It's coming.
spoil it any more than that. You'll have to subscribe to find out. But yeah,
We understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate you spending some of it with us. If you would like to follow along as we plot our devious plans, you can find all of us on socials at Rules of Villainy. We also have a growing community on Discord in which you can join at the link below, because I want to see your pets.
Yeah, but where can we find you specifically?
I am also on all of the socials. ROV_Kirsten on Instagram, but just ROV Kirsten everywhere else. So TikTok, Twitter, those are usually the main ones. Yeah, we have a good girly time.
And until next week, mates, stay safe. Fellow villains, be wary of wannabe heroes who want to disrupt your villainous plans. And as always, remember the rules of villainy.